in pain, muscular discomfort, entirely up to you. If you need to stop and have a little stretch, stop and stretch. If you can keep going, keep it going for as long as you want, as long as you can. So if you're seated, trying to find a good seated position that allows you to open up into the front of the belly, front of the chest, to encourage that relaxed diaphragmatic breath. This is allowing you to breathe into the belly, making sure that I'm not breathing with the top of the chest. If I'm laying down, just to finding a comfortable position for the arms and the legs, and then see if I can start to focusing on the breath and feeling the belly raising with the inhale, and then falling with the exhale. So noticing if there is any tension into the throat, into the collarbones, front of the shoulders or front of the chest, and then see if I can gradually try to soften, trying to relax and trying to let go. So guiding the breath down into the belly, trying to find that nice relaxed breath. And then as usual, just running a quick scan over the body. So noticing the pressure at the back of the body if I'm lying down, the pressure under the seat bones if I'm seated up. Is the pressure the same, right and left side? How about if I compare the position of my right and my left arm, of my right and my left leg? What about the position of the head compared to the shoulders? Is it slightly turned to one side? Is it slightly off to one side? I'm not changing anything. I'm just trying to notice where everything is and how I feel to begin with. And then as I feel a little bit more settled, as I feel a little bit more relaxed, I'm going to start focusing on the legs, starting with the hip joint. What I want is for my hip flexors to start waking up. So I'm going to grab a hold of the ball, the pillow, whichever one you've got. I'm going to place the ball between the right thigh and the right hand. So whether I'm lying down or sitting up is not going to make any difference. It's still going to be the same. And then think of squeezing the ball between your thigh and your hand. So I'm going to press into the ball with the leg and the arm, and then I'm going to release that pressure. So as you create that pressure between the hand and the leg, see if you can notice the front of the hip, what's happening into the hip joint. I can even place my left hand there to feel it. See if you can feel a little bit of a twitching or a little bit of a tensing there. So I'm going to try and turn it on and then turn it back off. Turn it on and then turn it back off. Pressing and release that pressure. Pressing and release that pressure. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing. Relaxing the hip or releasing that leg. I'm going to try the same thing on the left side. So the ball, the pillow is going to go between my left hand and my left thigh. And then again, I'm going to try and squeeze it between the two. So with the hand, I'm going to push in. With the leg, I'm going to push up and then relax. And then same as I did on the other side, see if I can be aware of that little twitching, that little tension right into the front of the hip joint to see if I can make it work. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and release, relaxing the hip or releasing the leg. From the front of the hip, I'm going to focus on the inner thigh. So this time I'm going to put the pillow or the ball between the knees. Again, no difference if I'm seated or lying down. And then with the left leg, I'm going to hold with the right leg, I'm going to squeeze into the ball. So I'm going to try and push into the ball, and then I'm going to release that pressure. So see if you can feel how the tension is now changed. It's not into the front of the hip anymore. It's into the side of the hip. I can feel the inner thigh tensing to create that little squeeze, that little adduction. And then I'm going to ease that pressure, and then I'm going to press again. So as if I was trying to pop the ball, but just using the strength of my right leg. And then same as usual, if I feel that the leg is a little bit temperamental, so it doesn't want to go that way, or it doesn't know how to go that way, I'm just going to guide it with a hand onto the side. I'm going to encourage it to press into the ball, and then I'm just going to allow it to relax again. I'm going to press into the ball, and then allow it to relax again. 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one. And release. This time I'm going to hold with the right leg, and then I'm going to focus the pressure on the left side. So I'm going to squeeze that left leg into the ball, and then I'm going to let go. I'm going to press into the ball and let go. So this time the attention goes to that left inner thigh that is creating that gentle pull, and then release. 4, the belly connected. 5, making sure that I'm not gripping and tensing through the shoulders or through the neck. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and release. Pulling the ball to one side, relaxing the leg, releasing the inner thigh. Then from the inside, I'm going to move on to the side of the hip. So I'm going to grab hold of my band or my strap. I'm going to shuffle the legs nice and close together, and then I'm going to wrap the band around the legs. I can hold it with the arms, or if I just want to relax it through the arms, I'm just going to put a little knot or a little bow to hold it in place, so I can relax the arms, and the band is going to stay in place. If you don't have an elastic band, so if it's a strap or a belt, so there is not much give, don't make it too tight. Keep it a little bit looser, so you still got a little bit of a range to move inside that loop inside the strap. And then this time I'm going to see if I can start focusing on the outward movement. So I'm going to hold with the left leg, and then I'm going to push out with the right. Then I'm going to ease back to the center, hold with the left, and then push out with the right. So if the band is elastic, I'm aiming for the band to stretch out slightly. If the band is not elastic, I'm aiming to reach the end of the tension, and then I'm just going to let it slack again. So bringing the attention to the side of the hip, to the side of the leg, as the leg is pushing out. 5, 4, guiding with a hand. If I feel that the leg again is a bit temperamental, doesn't want to move. 2, last one, and easing back, relaxing the hip, releasing the leg, and then I'm going to try the same thing with the left side. So holding with the right leg, I'm going to push out with the left, and then ease back to center. Push back with the left, push out with the left, and then ease back to center. And then notice the difference. I might find that one side is different from the other. So this side feels a bit stronger, or it might feel a little weaker. I might find that it kind of like shakes a little bit. So just giving yourself a little bit of time to get used to the movement, to see if I can control that movement. The pelvis is not moving. So if I'm seated on the hips, so it's not likely that my hips are going to move. But if I'm lying down, it's very easy to roll the hips to the side. So see if you can be aware of the pelvis keeping still. It's just the leg moving into the hip socket. 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, relaxing the hips or releasing the legs. I'm going to undo the band, let go of the band, relaxing the legs. And then just trying to get into the back of the hip. So I've got a little bit more connection into the front, into the inside and into the side. What I want is to try and find the connection a little bit more at the back. So if I'm lying down, I'm just going to push down through the soles of the feet to squeeze in with the back of the bum, driving the hips up into extension. See if you can think of the front of the hips opening up, your thigh bones trying to reach out of the hips and then shooting, launching out of the hips and away from you. And then I'm just going to ease my way back. So see if I can make the back of the hips or the big muscle at the back of glute max work to create that lift. So I'm not driving with the back, I'm not stiffening with the back, I'm just trying to use the back of the hips to drive me up into extension and then controlling it back down again. If you're seated, same as usual, imagine to be wanting to lift off the chair. So I'm going to bring the feet a little bit closer to the chair and then leaning forward into the legs. I'm going to squeeze with the bum, see if I can make myself lighter. And then I'm just going to let myself fall back into it. So see if I can make myself lighter and then just fall back into it. So finding the range of movement that works for you. See if I can keep the intention into the back of the hip. So I feel that my right bum cheek seems to be working. My left is just like almost like hanging in there. I'm going to focus on the left side and really try to think of clenching it, squeezing it. I can pinch it, I can prod it. Anything that is going to give me a little bit of a feedback, anything that is going to help me to find that muscle and make it work. 3 more. So driving your way up. And then easing back. 2, relaxing the neck, the jaw, the shoulders. Last one. And releasing back, relaxing the legs, giving the legs a little walk, a little shake, making sure that the back of the leg doesn't feel too stiff, doesn't feel too tight. And then from the hip joint, I'm going to move into the shoulder joint. So starting with flexion. 1 arm at a time. I'm going to start with the arms are down by the side and then lifting the right arm up to the ceiling. I'm going to start taking the arm back. As the arm starts traveling back, see if you can feel the right side of the rib cage. Can I make sure that as my arm reaches behind, my rib cage doesn't lift? So my ribs are not suddenly flaring, my belly is not suddenly stretching, my chest is not suddenly moving towards my face. Can I keep the rib cage down? Can I keep the chest away from the chin? Can I move it from the shoulder joint? So not from the back, but from the shoulder. Then I'm going to ease the arm back by the side, and then I'm going to repeat it again. Same side, same arm. So I'm going to try and keep the rib cage down this time, keep the ribs connected with the belly, and then I'm going to move the arm. So if I'm laying down, it's a little bit easier to move the arm as I'm not working against gravity. So I can really focus on the ribs, I can really focus on the tension into the belly to help me maintain the rib cage still while the arm is moving. If I'm seated, because I'm working against gravity, I'm lifting the arm upwards, I might not be able to get the arm that high, but same principle. Imagine your rib cage to be sliding down as the arm is trying to lift up, almost like a t-shirt. I don't want the t-shirt to start coming up and showing the belly. I want to keep the t-shirt tucked into the trousers. It's not going to go anywhere. So the ribs are still, you're keeping down, the arm is lifting, the neck is loose. I'm able to turn my head from side to side. So there is no tension wrapping around the neck, into the side or into the back of it. 3. 2. 1. And easing back, relaxing the shoulder, relaxing the arm. I'm going to try the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to raise the arm up to the ceiling. Feel the ribs on that left side. Don't let them lift. Don't let them flare. How far can I go with this arm? And then I'm just going to bring it back. And then I'm going to try that again. So finding that gentle connection into the side of the belly. Imagine the belly to be hooking onto the ribs and then holding them down. So the arm is moving into the shoulder socket. It's not the back compensating to take the arm further behind or further up. 5. 4. So I'm not forcing the movement. I don't want any pain in the shoulder. 2. Last one. And releasing back, giving the shoulder a little bit of a roll. I've got a little bit more movement in flexion. I'm going to try and focus on adduction. So grab hold of the cushion or the ball and then place the cushion between your forearms in front of you. So keeping the wrist loose, keeping the hands relaxed. I'm going to squeeze the forearms together. So pressing into the ball, and then I'm going to release. As you squeeze the forearm together, think of bringing the arms together in the middle. So see if you can be aware of the tension across the front of the chest that is allowing me to squeeze the ball, squeeze the cushion, and then I'm going to release. So I'm going to turn it on, turn it back off, turn it on, turn it back off. The hand is loose, the wrist is relaxed. So it's the forearms that are pushing, not my hands, not my fingers. 5. 4. 3. 2. And then on the next one, I'm going to squeeze and hold that squeeze. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ease the pressure. Try again. Squeeze and hold the squeeze. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ease the pressure. Try again. Squeeze and hold the squeeze. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ease the pressure. Squeeze and hold the squeeze. 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Relaxing the shoulders, giving the arms a little bit of a roll. I should be able to feel a little bit more kind of like warmth, the tension at the front of the chest. What I'm going to do, I'm going to work onto the back. So if you've got the band, the stretchy band, then you can as well try to use the band to give a little bit more challenge. If I don't have a stretchy band, then I'm just going to use the weight of the arms. I'm going to start with the arms straight in front of me. And then if I've got the band, I'm going to aim for the band to stretch out slightly, for the elbows to bend and the arm to come down to the floor. Think of your shoulder blades squeezing together. The fingers are still pointing up to the ceiling, so still pointing straight ahead. And then I'm going to ease that tension, return the arms back, and then I'm going to pull out and down at the same time. So imagine to be doing like a bench press, but instead of working to press up, I'm trying to work to pull it down. So I'm trying to press the back of my arms into the floor. I'm going to try and feel the tension going right across to the middle of the back. No tension into the neck. If I'm seated, exactly the same. Think of squeezing the elbows back. Think of squeezing the shoulder blades together. So see if I can try and create a nice tension between the shoulders, release, and then open out to squeeze, and then release again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, relaxing the arms and giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll. So a little bit more connection at the front, into the back, to the top. What I want is a little bit more work going into extension, shoulder extension. So if you're seated, I don't need to change anything. I've got the space. I'm just going to bring the arm down by the side and then focusing on both arms together. I'm going to push the hands as if I was trying to put my hand onto the wall behind me. Keeping a nice lifted chest. If you're lying down, I want you to roll over onto your side. Find a comfortable position for the head, for the bottom arm and the legs, and then focusing on that top arm. I'm going to reach it down the side of the body, and then I'm going to push it back as far as I can feel a nice, gentle tension behind the shoulder, and then I'm just going to return the arm back by the side. So I'm going to push it back, and then I'm going to ease it forward. 3, keeping the arm as straight as possible so that the triceps, the back of the arms are working. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and releasing back, relaxing the shoulders, releasing the arms. If you're lying down, I want you to roll over onto the other side, so we do the other arm. If you're seated, we're going to stay on both arms. So pushing the arms back. Imagine with the hand to be touching the wall behind. And then I'm going to return it back by the side. So making sure that I'm not leaning backwards. I'm keeping to the side, it's just the arm going into extension and then coming back. 3, 4, play with the position of the hand, making sure that there is no pain in the shoulder. 5, keep the arm straight just to feel the tension into the back of the arm. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and releasing back, relaxing the shoulder, releasing the arm. When you're ready, if you're on your back, if you're on the mat, you're rolling over onto your back again, resetting your neutral. So it's a little bit more movement into the hips, a little bit more movement into the shoulders. So see if you can start getting into the spine, into the back. Starting from the base of the spine, see if I can try and mobilize it, if I can release some of the tension, some of the stiffness from the lower back. So I'm going to start tilting the pelvis back, pressing the lower back gently into the mat, and then rocking my way back into neutral. Think of a gentle tension coming from the belly. Imagine to be pulling your pubic bone up and then towards your breastbone. The legs are reasonably relaxed, so I'm not trying to drive with the legs, I'm not trying to push with the legs, I'm just trying to pull with the belly. Focusing on the deep abdominals or focusing on your pelvic floor, whichever it's easier to control, and then see if I can activate those deep abdominals, see if I can draw up for my pelvic floor every time that I tilt the pelvis back. So see if I can ease some of the tension, some of the stiffness from the lower back. If you're seated exactly the same, I don't have the floor underneath to guide me, but I can still feel the lower back. So see if I can try and create that little tilt forward and back. That is encouraging movement into the lower back. The upper back is staying pretty still. I can feel the pelvis rocking gently from the seat bones into the pubic bone, from the pubic bone back to the seat bones or back to the tailbone, and then forward again. So mobilizing through the spine. Notice if the movement is even, is symmetric. I might find that one side seems to be tilting really well, so I can really feel the right side of my belly, but I don't feel the same on the left. It feels a bit uneven, it feels a bit different. Focus on that left side. Can I encourage a little bit more connection? Can I find a better connection on that left side? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, relaxing the hips. Hopefully it's a little bit more movement, it feels a little bit softer, a little bit more relaxed. I'm going to try and stay with the lumbar, but this time instead of going into flexion extension, I'm going to go into a little hip hitching. So think of hitching the right hip up towards the right side of the rib cage. Then I'm going to ease back and then left to the left. So if I'm seated, it'll be like as if I was trying to walk my seat bones up and down on the chair, feeling the side of the belly tensing to create the little hitch, to create the little lift. If I'm laying down, think of the back of the pelvis staying nice and flat against the floor. And then almost like if the hips were like a little pendulum, just gently swinging from side to side. So I'm going to hitch up on the right, the hips are going to move in that direction. Hitch up on the left, the hips are going to swing that way. So again, I can feel the obliques, I can feel the side of the belly working, and I can feel that gentle movement down into the lower back. So see if I can try and, again, release some of the tension, release some of the stiffness, but working in a different way, working in a different direction. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And easing back. Returning the hips back to the center, back to the middle. And then I'm going to start moving into the upper back. So shuffling the feet and the knees nice and close together. I'm going to bring the arms up and towards the ceiling. Clasping the hands together, I'm going to start going into rotation. So I'm going to swing the arms to the right. I'm going to roll onto the right shoulder. And then over to the left, onto the left shoulder. So see if I can get the gentle rocking from side to side. The hips are keeping still, the torso is rotating. So I'm getting that movement higher up into the back. If you're seated, the arms will get very heavy very quickly. I don't want the shoulders to stiffen up, so I might keep them a little bit lower so that the shoulder doesn't strain, the neck doesn't start stiffening as the arms are swinging from one side to the other. Also, if you're seated, you've got more space, so I can make my swing a little bit bigger. I can rotate a little bit deeper. If I'm laying down, I'm limited because of the floor. It's going to get in the way. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then coming back to the middle, I'm going to hug my right arm onto the chest. So I'm going to bring it close to me. Push the shoulder away from the head. And then keeping the right arm close to the chest, I'm going to rotate to the left. So I'm going to turn to the left, see if I can rotate it through the spine, and at the same time create a nice stretch that wraps around the back of the right shoulder, stretching the back of the shoulder and the middle of the back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Releasing back. Switching the arms, hugging the arm close to the chest, and then turn to go around the other way. Stretching into the back of the shoulder, stretching into the middle of the back. Shoulder down and away from the head. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back. Releasing the shoulders, relaxing the arms. And then from rotation, I'm going to go into a little lateral flexion. So still working through the obliques, but this time instead of working from the hip up to the rib cage, I'm going to work from the rib cage down to the hip. So I'm going to allow the arms to reach down the side. And then I'm going to start pulling down on the right, flex into the right, back to the center, and then over to the left. Back to the center, and then down the other way. So if I'm seated, I don't have, again, any guidelines. Imagine a wall behind. I'm going to keep my shoulders on the wall as I'm moving from side to side. If I'm laying down, I've got the mat underneath, I've got the floor, so I can use the mat to guide me. I can use one hand to support the weight of the head as I carry to the right, as I reach down the right, and then as I carry to the left, as I reach down the left. So feeling the side of the belly tensing to create that little flexion from one side over to the other. From one side over to the other. 7. 8. 9. 10. And releasing back. Releasing the shoulders, relaxing the back, resetting your position straight down the middle. And then we're going to finish off with a little flexion and then extension. I'm going to, if I'm laying down, I'm going to reach both hands to the back of the head, supporting the head. I'm going to tag the chin towards the chest and then curling the head and the shoulders off the floor. Imagine if possible to be bringing the head so far around that I'm going to put my face onto my chest. So I'm going to try and lengthen the back of the neck and go my way up, make the belly work to create that lift. And then I'm just going to ease my way back down. If I'm seated, use the ball, use the pillow against the breastbone, against the chest. I'm going to push the pillow in and then see if you can take the shape of the ball. So I'm going to try and round myself into it, and then I'm going to release back. I'm going to round myself into it, and then I'm going to release back. So still feeling a little tension into the belly, encouraging that crunch, encouraging that curl. making sure that there is no stiffness into the neck. So especially if you're lying down, make sure that you're not pulling the head. The arms are there just to carry the head up. The belly is doing the pulling to create that lift. And then I'm just going to ease back. 5. 4. 3. 2. Last one. And releasing back and giving the head a gentle roll, making sure that the neck doesn't feel stiff, it doesn't feel tight, allowing the belly to have a little rest, to relax. And then when you're ready, changing the direction, going into a little extension. So if you're lying down, rolling over onto the side, slowly bring yourself up into sitting. Finding your comfortable seated position. So setting the legs wherever it's easier, leaning onto something if I feel that I need a little support, or just keeping the hands to the back.